I'm here with Adam. He joined us in the studio today. Adam, Arsenal doing very well today, going away to Leeds, a ground where a lot of people thought it could be very difficult. I mean, especially coming off what happened last week with the loss to Man United. So there was a lot of scrutiny on this game, a lot of jeopardy. But 4-0, I think we've done very well.
Absolutely, and there were a lot of rival fans salivating
They were.
about the opportunity to watch Arsenal crumble again, and we haven't allowed that to happen. We've shown them that actually, I said about the two different directions that the team was potentially going in, same old, or going in the right direction and actually showing we're here for the duration, and we've actually shown that today. Everybody played very, very well. It's a tough place to go. Baying crowd, obviously one of the hardest places in the Prem to go and play football. But the fact that you didn't really see that today come across was actually very impressive, especially considering obviously Saka was out. That was a shock at the start.
Do we know the nature of the injury yet?
I mean, it looked like a hamstring from what was on the screen, but I'm not sure exactly what it is at the moment. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. But I think the biggest compliment you can give to the players is we didn't really miss him. I'm also of the mind with Odegaard that I think what Arteta did today was absolutely fair enough, benching him. Yeah, he might be the captain, but why should anybody have a divine right to play when they've not been playing very well? And I think
Yeah, it was a big call. The only thing I was slightly surprised about is that I thought he would have gone with Eze, who's a more natural number 10.
Yeah.
In the end, we went with Havertz. Now, we know the manager is a bigger admirer of Havertz. How do you think Havertz played today?
I think he played quite well. To be honest, I think he looked pretty good. Obviously, I think I'd probably rather see him in the strike position as a striker because he's got all those attributes. But I think he was asked just to do a job today, and it was a little bit of experimentation, but it was brave. And sometimes being brave means that good results come as a result of that. So the manager was quite fearless actually. He made some big calls today. I think Havertz did okay. Was he the best player on the pitch? No, but he was neat and tidy. He did what he needed to do. He didn't stand out in a negative way. So actually he's come in, he's been able to follow instruction and do the job for the team today. So he did okay. I think I'm probably more on your side of the fence that I'd rather see Eze play in that position because obviously he's a natural number 10 and I think he's been underutilised this season so far. So yeah, he did what he needed to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, listen, they say fortune favours the brave, and the manager, like you said, was brave today, and it worked. Let's talk about Noni Madueke because he got called to play very late. Obviously, Saka, like you said, picking up the injury. I thought he made an indifferent start, if I'm being fair. Run the ball out a couple of times. Decision making wasn't quite there, and then there was a corner. There was, I think, a corner or two, actually, where he didn't go past the first man. We're thinking, But then, to be fair to him, he didn't let his head drop, got into the game more, grew in confidence. And in that first half, I thought, especially towards the end of the first half, he was really on song. And he got 2 assists.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Noni was very good. I agree with your assessment that at the start he looked a bit shaky. Some of those corners were pretty woeful, to be quite honest. But he grew into the game. What I like about Noni as well is that he runs at his man. He always runs at his man. So as much as you can criticise him for running the ball out of play, at least he gives it a go and he tries.
That's true.
I don't like the whole sort of backwards, sideways thing. I like a player that actually goes and attacks and runs at the fullback, even if they don't get the better of him, because it actually shows that actually, do you know what? They're going to take on that man and they're going to try and do something positive.
Be aggressive.
Yes, exactly. Be as aggressive as possible. And Noni was good today. He was very good. Again, you didn't feel like the loss of Saka was going to trip us up today. You never felt like that during the game. A shame he didn't get credited with the goal. I mean, it looked like a really nicely whipped corner. Looked like, obviously if that was just on a pitch without any players, that goes into the back of the net. So.
Yeah, certainly the quality of the ball invited the mistake from the keeper. So yeah, well done to him. Moving further up the pitch, another player that had come in for a lot of scrutiny prior to today is Victor Gyökeres. Yeah. He did score against Kairat, to be fair, but going into this game, people said, look, he needs to do more, he needs to score. We saw the best and worst of him today. I mean, a few moments before he scored, a few minutes before he scored, he had an opportunity that should really have done better on, and we were all in the studio holding our hands up saying, oh, come on. Yeah. But to be fair, he got on the end of a good cross by Martinelli, gets his goal. What did you think of his performance overall?
Pretty good. I mean, he looks like he's starting to improve. He's starting to, these goals are coming. the Champions League one was particularly impressive against Inter Milan.
Yes,
And then obviously the other day, as you say, it's Kairat, but he still had to put the ball in the back of the net, and he did. And today his goal was good, and I think it was Christian that said on his interview that you've got to keep going when you miss a chance. You've got to keep going. You've got to have that mental toughness to say, do you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going. That ball's going to come to me again at some point. I'm going to put it in the back of the net, and that's exactly what he did. We've seen as Arsenal fans over the years, we've had players come in who've started quite slow and then built into something very impressive. So hopefully Gyökeres can be another one of those. I mean, I think there's still development that he needs to do with his game, but it's starting to look like something reasonably promising now. Yeah. He's got 6 goals. I think, I don't know if that's in all competitions or if that's just in the Premier League.
I think it's 6 in the Premier League. I think overall he's got 11 or something like that.
Yes, it's a pretty decent tally. It's not bad. So exactly. It's certainly decent. It's healthy. There are a lot of players that have come in. Other clubs like Sesko, he hasn't exactly set the world alight. Isak stuttered when he came into Liverpool at the start. So, I mean, I've talked quite a bit about Gyökeres, and I know a lot of people are saying he's, not got it. And then there's a lot of people saying, actually, we're not playing to his style. And then people are saying we're not adapting to the way he wants to play. So there's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes with Gyökeres. I think he's just got to keep going. I said after the Kairat game, I think goals breed confidence. Absolutely. And he's obviously scored a couple now. Let's hope he takes that into his game, shows that little bit of arrogance now. He's scored a couple of goals. Let's keep it moving, and let's get some more goals for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And another guy that could say that as well was Jesus. He came on. It's very similar to Gyökeres. Had a chance to score, didn't take it, but then scores an absolute worldie, and we finished the game on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. I said in Milan after the Milan game, this guy's a winner. The amount of time he was out for, so long. He's had a long recovery period from a really serious injury. Would you know it, watching him play today and in other games? I certainly wouldn't. That's not a player I'd look at and go, yeah, he's been out for ages. He was absolutely fantastic in Inter Milan in that game. He was fantastic in the first game he came back, where Madueke and Odegaard scored those amazing goals. And he just looks like he's a winner. He comes on the pitch, he does what he needs to do, scores really nice goals. Technically, he's very, very good. He can move well. He's very agile.
He offers us something different, doesn't he? From
Yeah, absolutely, he does. He really does. And I'm not a big fan of him leaving the club. I'm not sitting here thinking we need to get rid of Jesus. I think Jesus is fantastic. I think he's got a role at this football club, and I'd like to see us keep him. But whether we do or not, credit to him for coming back in the way he has.
Yeah, well said. And just finally to wrap up, a win today. At the time we're speaking, anyway, 7 points clear. How do you see the rest of the title race playing out? Do you think we're here to stay? Do you think there's going to be more points dropped along the way? I guess I'm saying, how confident are you we can go on and really nail this now?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident. I mean, I think after today's game, that was the acid test. And the fact that we stood up to that and we won the game means that I'm confident now for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be very messy. I think a lot of teams are going to drop points, possibly including us. But we've just got to stay strong mentally, keep going, get as many wins as we can, obviously, and and believe that we can do it. Because at the end of the day, I think there's 2 ways of playing football, and this has been talked a lot about in the media. If we're playing with fear, the fans, they're afraid that, Arsenal might drop off, that nervousness that everybody's talking about. If we can just remove that and try and play with, as Arteta said himself, excitement, enjoy our game, be strong, be confident, I think we've got every chance of winning the league.
Sounds like you're very much in the boat, as Mikel Arteta would say. But thanks, Adam.
Travelling to away games has never been easier, especially with Rocket Mobile.
Unlimited data, unlimited everything in the UK. When you leave the UK, it's 20 gig of roaming data. Life is very easy.
£16 a month, no hassle.
How you doing?
You're doing all right? And this is what you get in Europe.
Hello. Tony Adams!
Thank you so much.
Lee, you're the man.